Hey guys, Matt here. I'm going to do another weekend video for you. I'm going to go back to the 60s this weekend, and I'm going to do the Rascals, or the Young Rascals as they were initially called. I'm going to do the Atlantic years because that's the easiest way to cover their initial output, and all their hits were on the Atlantic label. There's two ways you can look at the Rascals' career on CD on Atlantic. That is, well, this came out a number of years ago. This is Rhino handmade, and it's called The Rascals All I Really Need, the Atlantic recordings from 65 to 71. It's 6 discs. I'll show you this at the end, but I'm going to show you this first. It's wonderful. The complete Atlantic studio recordings, which is 7 discs. All right, and I'll tell you why. Well, I was going to say I'll tell you why I like this better, but I'm not sure I do. But it does contain, it probably is more comprehensive if you're just going to get one box, because it's got the first 4 albums in mono as well as stereo, which the Rhino Handmade set only has the albums in stereo. So let's go over this. It has a little box that you pull out of the bigger box, and then you have the CDs. Little booklet. Both of these sets have nice little booklets, plenty of pictures. All right, there's not that many albums. 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the Rhino Handmade set gives you the greatest hits album timepiece, which I'll also get to that in a second. All right, let's go over these 7 albums. I just played all of these in my car in the last week. This is why I'm doing this show. I had these Rascals CDs out on my little table here a year ago, thinking I was going to do this show, and I didn't have the desire. I just wasn't in the mood, but now I am. All right. So, anyways, here's the first one, 1966, The Young Rascals. It's a really good album. It's virtually like a garage rock LP. Gosh. Rather than just try to read that, I'll just look at the booklet. So that's Slow Down was the first number, the Larry Williams tune that the Beatles had covered as well. Baby Let's Wait is pretty good. Just a Little is the Beau Brummels cover. I Believe is, God, I like that song too, but I can't remember who did that initially. Oh, I can't read it, too small. Do You Feel It is an original. It's all right. Good Lovin', of course, they do the ultimate version of that. Like a Rolling Stone, the Dylan number, Mustang Sally. They do a good version of Mustang Sally, best known by Wilson Pickett, but he didn't write it. That was before him. And then I Ain't Gonna Eat Out My Heart Anymore, one of the better numbers on this album. A pretty good version of In the Midnight Hour. And so there you go. And I actually like their version of Slow Down more than the Beatles. So, The Young Rascals, 1966. All right. Almost as good is Collections. Collections is 67, I want to say. And let me tell you what's on that one. What Is the Reason is a great song to open up with. Okay. Oops. Okay, good. Since I Fell for You, pretty good. Lonely Too Long is a great number. No Love to Give, okay. They do a combination of Mickey's Monkey and Turn On Your Love Light. And they were doing Love Light before the Grateful. Well, I don't know if the Grateful Dead were doing that. This song in '67 or not. Come On Up is one of the better numbers. Too Many Fish in the Sea is a cover, of course. More other bands had done more, and that it's not their song. 1956 is their kind of homage to 50s rock and roll. Love's a Beautiful Thing is one of the better numbers, and then a pretty good cover of Land of a Thousand Dances. So again, not so much the garage rock aspect anymore, but still, that thing that the Rascals had, that East Coast Italian blending of, then pop rock and, R&B. They always sounded more black than your typical band of white guys did. Okay, Groovin', also in 1967, is my favorite. I think it's everyone's favorite Rascals album. I also have the Mobility Mono Mix, which came out a few years ago. This was the way that you got this album in mono. Now, of course, this is mono and stereo. And since I can read the titles easier on the MoFi, let me go over that with you. Okay, A Girl Like You, great. Find somebody interesting with that psychedelic guitar. I'm So Happy Now is beautiful. Sueño. How Can I Be Sure is one of their more popular numbers. Groovin' is the huge hit. If You Knew is, I love it. I Don't Love You Anymore is pretty good. You Better Run. I remember Pat Benatar did that, right? A Place in the Sun is a cover of the Motown number. Stevie Wonder, right? It's Love is pretty good. And then It's a Beautiful Morning. I mean, what could be, what's wrong with that album? This is their hidden gem. You know, when you think about great American rock albums of the late 70s, this should come to mind. All right? Groovin' by the Young Rascals. And the last time that they would use the young as part of their name. Okay. I quite like Once Upon a Dream, their fourth album. Still mono and stereo in this box set. Let's get to those songs. Okay, this is kind of their, this is 68, kind of their post Sgt. Pepper, kind of slightly embracing psychedelia. These guys are never really a psychedelic band, but it's kind of hard not to make music that was, in that vein if you were if you were a rock band in 67 and 68. And this would be, I guess, their slight foray into that. Okay, so intro, Easy Rollin' is a good song. Rainy Day, I like. Please Love Me. Sound Effect, which is just these little things that they do in between the numbers. It's Wonderful, I guess, was the hit on the album. I'm Gonna Love You. Dave and Eddie, which is just, those guys talking. My Hawaii, which is almost something that Elvis would have sung. My World is good. Silly Girl is good. Singing the Blues Too Long. Bells. Sattva, which is the kind of like a sitar number, where it kind of like the answer to, I don't know, that George Harrison tune from Sgt. Pepper's, Within You, Without You. And Once Upon a Dream. And then, of course, there's bonus tracks, too. So I think of their 60s albums, this one is the most underrated. All right? Once Upon a Dream, The Rascals. Okay, we're moving into 69 now. At least I hope Freedom Suite is 69. Gosh. It seems to me like in my mind it's 69, but if I'm wrong, you guys will tell me. This is a double album. And it's not bad. It's as a lot of double albums do in those days. It's kind of sprawling, and they're not all just little pop gems the way that they were on previous Rascals albums. But let's see what's on Freedom Suite. America the Beautiful, they did tend to sing about America on a few numbers. Me and My Friends is kind of funky. Any Dance Will Do is pretty good. Look Around, A Ray of Hope, wasn't that a hit too? I think a top 40 hit. Island of Love, of course. Love Was So Easy to Give. And then People Gotta Be Free, which I think went to number 1, right? I mean, that was a huge hit. So making this the last Rascals album to have a big hit on it. Baby I'm Blue, Heaven, that one's pretty good. Adrian's Birthday, this is kind of like a jam. Boom, which is the, drum solo track. And then Cute, which is also really long and seems like a jam. All right, so it's not, one of the great double albums of the 60s, but it's pretty good. I like it. All right, so Freedom Suite. Okay, now, the last two are not in the same league. C, in fact, I almost should just show you these at the same time. C and Search and Nearness are not bad records, but, they don't really have any Rascals classics either. I guess we're like in 69 and 70 now. They did another album in 71, but it wasn't, I think 2 more albums. There's one in 72 as well, but they're not Atlantic, and I have not heard them. These albums are, like I said, pretty good. I don't play them a lot. I mean, in my entire life, I may have played these albums 2 or 3 times. Each one, maybe two or three times. I just was listening to this one yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind, but I think I might like C better. Let me look at these songs for you, see whether anything stands out. I won't read them all. Okay, I do like the song C. I'm Blue, I like that one too. They do a pretty good version of Temptation's About to Get Me, which is of course not their number. Nubia is pretty. I think that's a standout. That's probably it, you know. And then on Search and Nearness, I like Right On. I like I Believe too. Yeah. Nama, okay. They do an okay. Actually, that's not true. I don't really like their version of the Letter, the Box Tops number. They kind of lose the melody of that song. And then again, Glory, Glory is like another kind of nationalistic number at the end. But so not as interesting to me, but I know that both of these albums have their fans. So, you know, if you like them, hey, I'm not knocking it. Okay, so that is their career in the on the Atlantic label. I'm gonna put this away and I'm gonna show you the Rhino Handmade set. Now this one, I was happy to get this. This came out a long time ago, like 20 years ago. This is you know, Rhino Handmade is I don't even know if they even still make CDs, but I got a pretty low number. This is let me see if I can find it. Well, anyways, here it is. This is numbered. They made 3,000, and I have number 16. So not bad. All right. Now this also comes with like a little. If anything, this is an even thicker booklet containing all the artwork for all the albums, all the singles, real nice. You get all the 45s in their original mixes, you know, mono mixes, and it contains, as I told you earlier, the timepiece Rascals Greatest Hits album, which is an album that I knew growing up because my friend had it, and so that's how I originally heard these Rascals songs. That was the back of it. So that's nice. Even though it just reproduces those songs from other albums, it's just nice that you get it on here. All right. So, but again, you do not get the albums in mono. You get the 45s in mono when they were in mono, but you get the albums in stereo here. So of the two, unless you really want timepiece, but you can make yourself on a CDR, if you have this is probably the better one. All right. So, wow, 13 minutes. That was a short video. The Rascals, not a forgotten band, but not a band that you have a large following, I think, to this day. They're an East Coast band, and I think they were bigger over there than they were here on the West Coast. But of course, you know, we still had the hits here. I've always liked them. You know, they're a band, you know, about as good as, say, folk rock bands at the time were, like Mamas and the Papas and Turtles and, you know, 11 Spoonful. But of course, the Rascals were never folk rock, despite covering the Bob Dylan number and the Bo Brummels tune. They were way more into, you know, R&B and soul. So anyways, glad I finally got to do the video. You got any comments on the Rascals? Tell me. This is Matt signing off.